Let's talk a little bit about the vocabulary game. The vocabulary game is a board game that can be played between 2 and 4 players. Now, how long it takes to win the game depends greatly upon the amount of effort the student has put into learning the vocabulary words prior to playing the game. The vocabulary game has been won in as short as 15 minutes, when being played between 2 people. Now that's fast. But I have also seen the other extreme, where there were 4 people playing the vocabulary game and it took about an hour to win. So at times it may take a while. Now the vocabulary game has some immediate benefits that it offers. First, for the students that don't take the time to learn the words prior to playing the game offers the immediate benefit of repetition. It does this through the unique structure. The structure is set up so that each word is repeated several times throughout a single round in the game. This gives a child the ability to pick up a word that he or she missed or didn't study prior to playing the game. The second benefit of the game is hints. Throughout the game, the students are allowed to give each other hints in order to present the word or definition in a different way so that the other students can associate the meanings better for optimal memory. Now let's talk a little bit about the template of the game. The vocabulary game has a very unique template. It is designed so that the game can be played with any subject as long as that subject has vocabulary words that can be put on a note card. The template is also offered in dual languages, as expected in our country's native tongue, like English, or in Spanish to support the integration of the Spanish culture into American society. Now, besides the physical material needed to play the vocabulary game, like the poker chips and the board itself and the note cards, the only other thing one needs to win the game is a little imagination. As has been seen throughout history, American students are dictated information via school systems to ensure academic success. And although it cannot be denied that this constant influx of information is needed to form new ideas, this method of delivery via force-feeding information to students in classrooms does deny the brain the ability to practice creative thinking. The vocabulary game has been designed as a way to bring both important aspects of learning development together: information and creative thinking. Now, over the past 2 years, the vocabulary game has been played in Miss Morant's 3rd and 4th and 4th and 5th grade classes at Central Ave Elementary in Kissimmee, Florida. This is a graph of 3 months' worth of tests that have been put together to show that the average of the 5th graders in the class was about 87.5%. 87.5%. Amazing. Now here's another graph. It's the average of the 4th graders, which happens to be 88.8%. These are phenomenal averages. 88.8% and 87.5% are almost B plus A averages. As far as school is concerned, a B plus A average is excellent. These students were doing very well as a result of the game. Now, let's talk a little bit about the note cards that are associated with the game. Each classroom is given up to 7 templates of the game. Each template needs its own set of vocabulary note cards to play with the game. The note cards are structured this way. It has 3 parts. The first part, or the first sentence, offers the part of speech. The second sentence offers the number of syllables. And the final sentence is going to offer the clue or riddle that is going to be used to jog the memory of the definition of the word, which should lead to the thought of that word. The original set of note cards will be made by the students. Once a week, a pioneer will come and collect the original sets in order to make the appropriate number of copies for the classroom. Let's take an example. One of the benefits produced by the vocabulary game is patterns. A great reader has the ability to foresee the outcome of events as they are taking place. The practice of following the mental sequence of events is found in the riddles or clues presented in the vocabulary game. For example, take this note card. Now the first sentence tells us the part of speech, which is a noun. Second sentence tells us the number of syllables, and the third is the clue. So if we put it all together, we're looking for a word that's a noun with 2 syllables, and the clue is when someone dies, you might find yourself in this state. Well, immediately the brain begs a double meaning. The brain associates the word state with the most familiar meaning, like the one in which you live. But after closer examination, you will notice that the riddle is actually referring to a state of mind, such as morning. And that would be our answer. Now, habitually playing the vocabulary game improves lateral thinking by teaching the brain how to solve a problem many different ways. Take this algebraic equation, for example. X plus y equals 2. There's probably an infinite number of ways to solve this problem. However, we are just going to list 3 examples of different ways to solve one problem. The solutions for x could be 0, 1, or 10. And the solutions for y could be 2, 1, or negative 8. The combination of each of these number groups will lead us to the answer 2. Here is another way to prove lateral thinking, by asking ourselves, what is the definition of run? You first may think to tell me that run is a person or animal moving swiftly down the street. Although this is the correct definition of run, did you know that the word run has 26 different definitions as a verb, 3 of which are to manage, as to run a business, to incur, as to run a risk, or to accumulate, as to run up a bill. It is important for students to understand that just because a word has been presented to them in one form or another, doesn't mean that if the word was used in a different context, that it couldn't mean something different. After learning how to view different situations to one problem in the classroom, a student will be able to develop the habit outside the classroom, leading to better decision-making in their lives. Other benefits of the vocabulary game include parts of speech. Part of speech is used to help the player identify the definition of the word being hinted at. The importance of usage is illustrated in the following 2 sentences. Let's take the first sentence. I am in mourning for my father. This sentence uses the word mourning as a noun. When I think of being in mourning for my father, I think of a place that I might reside in. Maybe I'm in a monk in a monastery, or I'm in a quiet, solemn, dark place, where I'm doing a lot of praying of when I think of a noun. Now let's use the same word as a verb. I am mourning the loss of my cat. I am mourning makes me think that I'm doing something, performing an action, kind of like crying, or maybe I'm depressed. As you can see, knowing the part of speech helps the brain visualize the word up much better. The vocabulary game also uses a visual stimulation by drawing a picture with common words and relating them to real-life references. For example, let's define the word stop. We know that the word stop means to cease an action, but what if I wanted to remember that the word stop means to cease doing something? The first thing we might consider is a stop sign. If we take the word stop out of the stop sign, we would be left with a sign in the shape of an octagon. The first thing we might notice about the octagon is that it has 8 sides. The word octagon might remind you of an octopus, probably because octopi are everywhere. They're very strange animals and often referred to and very nasty to eat. We also might consider that the octopi have 8 legs, just like an octagon has 8 sides. These are mental connections that our brain might form. Another connection that our brain might make from looking at a stop sign is a traffic light. A traffic light has both colors, with red meaning stop and green meaning go. So if you ask me what is the opposite of red, I would probably tell you green, as stop is the opposite of go, which according to a traffic light, we would be correct. By creating these types of links, it allows the brain to consider options that may not have been thought of without the use of a visual stimuli. Now, the vocabulary game has an exciting prize circle. Yay! Everybody loves a reward. The prize circle was put on the game to encourage the students to play and win in order to receive a reward. Now, since there are so many students and classes, what we've done is put together a system by which we tally up the winners for 1 month in a class, and assuming that there are more than one, we'll have what's called a game off. The winners are the students that land on the prize circle or finish the game with $100 or more. A game off could be anything using the vocabulary words. For example, charades, or the vocabulary game itself, or there's a game that we play where we use parts of speech of the word. Whoever wins that game off gets a $20 gift certificate from a popular retail store. That would be something that Parlay Pioneers Inc. will supply. This part of the program is a lot of fun and the children really enjoy it. The lessons we are trying to impart, there are rewards in life to look forward to. Now, the setup of the game. This is the schedule that we have found to be most effective when integrating the game into the classroom. The setup goes a little like this. The first week, the Pioneer picks up the words that the students will be tested on the following week. At this time, the Pioneer will also teach the children the format of the note cards and how to write the riddles. Then on day 1 of week 2, the students will be given the same list of words the Pioneer received in week 1 by the teacher. On day 2, their students will be given drawing assignments to help them use visual stimulation when trying to memorize the words. On day 3, the students are assigned sentences and are given one word from the following week to make a riddle. This word that each child is given will make up a set of riddles that the Pioneer will pick up when she returns at the end of the week to drop off the copies of the first set of riddles. On day 4, the students will play the game, and on day 5, they'll take the test. Whew! It sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. Alright, let's play the game.